Bannister has pushed himself to the limit of physical endurance, but he speaks modestly of his epic achievement.
Because I had expected to retire if I won the gold medal, but I came fourth, which was a bitter disappointment to me and to the press. And so I realized I had to do something to justify my training methods and so on. And so I realized then that the Empire Games was going to be in 1954. Well, I wasn't sure that I could attempt it on the day. The weather was terrible, and it only cleared up a little towards evening. So a lot of features were against it, but I felt that if I didn't take the opportunity when the chance presented itself, I might never forgive myself. The lap times were stated so that we could all hear them. So 58, correct. 1:58, correct. But then 3 minutes and 1 second, that was dangerously slowing. So I had to do the last lap in under 59 seconds, which was quite a tall order. I was not confident at all, but I knew that I had tried my very best, and I couldn't certainly have run any faster. I was on the point of collapse at the time of the finish, but I only managed it by a very narrow margin, but it was enough.
It was Norris that announced over the crackling PA that night for all that Roger was the first man to get under 4 minutes. Of course, when he actually announced the final time, it almost got drowned out by the sea of excitement. And it was interesting, on the eve of the London Marathon a few years ago, I had supper with both Roger and Norris and a few other people like Brendan Foster around the table. And we said to Norris, come on Norris, give us the speech the announcement. And he went through R.J. Bannister of Oxford University, Pembroke College, the 3As, Great Britain, and went right the way through it until he got to the final moment. And he did it at the end of dinner. And sadly, but for us, I guess fortunately, we were the last people to ever hear that because he died the following day. So it was quite an extraordinary moment for us to have all been at supper with him and actually asking. And it was lovely that actually his last supper was with Roger Bannister, who, he adored.
Well, mainly after setting the record, I felt a relief because I had wanted to justify my training methods and so on following the disappointment in Helsinki. And I realized that I'd done it, and that was something which I was very pleased to have achieved, partly for myself, for my friends who I ran with, for the Oxford University where I trained, and then finally for the country. In those days we were quite patriotic, and it was a year after the new Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, had been crowned, and it was a year after Everest had been climbed. To be a record breaker, I think you have to have determination. You have to be prepared for upsets and reverses, which I certainly had in my career. And the other factor is luck. There have to be features which come together on the day you attempt to break the record.
May 6th, a British medical student, Roger Bannister, earned sports immortality, the first man to break the legendary 4-minute barrier, running a mile in 3 minutes, 59 4/10 seconds. Bannister has pushed himself to the limit of physical endurance, but he speaks modestly of his epic achievement.